Hi, and welcome to part 3 of using InfoOhio resources. Just a reminder that if InfoOhio is read here, you can always use the username greenlocal and the password is Bobcats. InfoOhio is available here on the Launchpad, and you can get to the Launchpad by opening a new tab, or if you click the little house in the upper left-hand corner. And that on the Green Local Library's website, I do have videos and links that about the InfoOhio resources that you may find useful. So now I'm going to show you, I've showed you the World Book resources and the iSearch. I'm going to show you the Academic Search Premier, but I'm actually going to start with its cousins. Right next door, you can see the Health Information Collection. And what InfoOhio has done is they've taken EBSCO, the Academic Search Premier, and they've bundled these resources that are all related to health, Medline, Science Reference Center, Psychology and Behavioral Sciences Collection, Health Source, Consumer Edition. They bundled all those resources right here. So if I'm looking for information about cardiac events, I'm going to probably use the health information because the results I get first are going to be from health-related resources. So my net is a little smaller and a little more specific when I go out to get information. So that was the health information, and you'll see that I have one for STEM, so for my science and technology, engineering and math. There's one for business. They even have one related to careers. So it's the same thing, but I call them cousins because it's going to create, they've already focused the database to a specific area. So I'm going to show you the Academic Search Premier. This is EBSCO. I simply click on the link. Now, if I were to click sign in, if you remember way back in 5th and 6th grade with Mrs. McElhaney, she actually had you create a sign in and use the Career Center to take surveys and explore different career options. You can do the same thing. Now, if you click sign in and you're like, I don't remember the username password, you could always sign in with Google. It does sync up, which makes it nice. And you simply just select the account that you want to use. Now, I have a folder, and you can see my folder's open because I've already saved some things. So I can actually save my resources here as well. It gives me another option to store information. One other thing about EBSCO and the Academic Search Premier is if you go to Publications, and this is a short little tool, you can actually look up specific magazines. So if you find a resource on another website, but you want to see if you can get a copy of the actual pages, this is an option. And I often, when I'm looking for information, you can see I typed in Scholastic because I know Scholastic has a lot of magazines published for children. If I tell it to browse, it brings up all of these that are published by Scholastic. And if I select those, and add it, you can see that now in my search box, I've narrowed it down to just those items. So if I were to type in Bigfoot now, at the end of that, and tell it to search, I'm only going to get resources about Bigfoot, or that have big and foot in the term, search term subject matter, that come from Scholastic. Those are going to be the first choices that get pulled up, which makes it nice. So that's an option for you as well, if you're looking for a specific title. I am going to do a new search. And I'm going to search for Bigfoot. And you can see it tried to offer me some other suggestions. Now, I've got 400 possible resources. And you can see here's what's in my folder. Here are some suggestions. But always on the left, I have a way to limit my resources. I always want full text. I don't want any summaries or anything like that. I want to see references. I want to see that they've shown their resources. And you can see it starts with 1974. In this case for Bigfoot. I'm going to change that to 2010. And now I have 207 resources. I don't want reviews. There are magazines, there are newspapers, academic journals, trade publications. I can expand this to see. And in this case, I only had those. I can select one of those. I only want newspaper articles about Bigfoot. And these are all news articles. I can see I've narrowed it down to 35 resources. If I start to see that this is not what I need, I can simply change. I can expand once again. I just hit the X here at the top to remove that limiter. I'm still going to keep my time. I have the source search. I can add Sasquatch. I could have my subject. The littlest book, Bigfoot book, is probably not something I want to check unless I'm looking for that book. I can see where it was published. Once again, School Library Journal, Kirkus Review, Book List. Those are all going to be book reviews. I don't want any of those. Maybe USA Today, maybe Publishers Weekly, maybe Time.com. Entertainment Weekly, I don't know. New Scientist might be a better option. But I can simply mark any of those that I want to see, and Info Ohio will eliminate the rest of those options. So I narrow things down. Who published it, the company that published it. All of these are going to be in English, where it was published. Like this is British Columbia, United States. Those are options as well. So I am going to pick, let's see, if I look at my choices here, I see we have the Smithsonian, and I can get a preview It says the article discusses the prevalence of the legendary creature known as Bigfoot, also called Sasquatch. So notice I have HTML full text and I have a PDF. PDFs are angels of research. And here's why. If I select PDF, I still have my options. I could save it to my Google Drive. I could print it. I can download it and save it. I could add it to my folder. I can cite my source, and it does the same thing like before. It pulls up the citation. I scroll to the MLA format. I highlight this part, copy, paste onto my works cited page. I can send it to one of these collections of information. I can create a permalink. You know me, save it to your drive, save it to your folder, email it to yourself, and create the permalink and put it on the document. But the first thing you should notice is I get the full color picture. That's the best part about a PDF. I get this option. I can see the picture. This is the actual magazine, the way it was presented to the readers. So I can read this just like I would a regular print magazine. And if I scroll all the way down, they always include this copyright page just to remind you that this article comes from other resources. But here's the bonus to the PDF. If you look over to the left, this is the rest of the magazine. So I'm reading the article about Bigfoot, and then I see that the next article is fact or folklore. Or if I expand it, all records from this title. I get to see everything that was in the Smithsonian from September of 2018. And usually a magazine will publish similar articles. So here's one on Bigfoot. This is, you have this option of looking for similar articles. And maybe you're interested in these other topics, or maybe you find a better topic. And then sometimes you can actually find another article by a different author on the same topic or with a counter argument. And all of these are PDFs that I can save, download, and I get the picture. So that's why I like PDFs. Now, I can always go back. That's it. To my search. I go here, back to where I started, Call of the Wild Man. I can download the PDF, and I can go back to my result list. If I find out that this isn't what I wanted, I can see here, but once again, School Library Journal, and I see fiction, that's going to be a book review. Here's a Smithsonian. Here's a Nature. It's a PDF article. The nice thing about this is I can save it, email it to myself, add it to my folder. I can cite it, and there's a permanent link. It makes it easy to do your research. So this is the EBSCO Academic Premier Search Tool, and I hope that it was useful.